Hello guys, welcome back. First day pre-season, players are back today. It's such a good sight to see the boys back in town. But in terms of what we can talk about, obviously over the next, let's say 20 minutes, half an hour, we've got so much to talk about. What do we already know? Let's start with something easy to get everyone into. Ellis Harrison has obviously signed for Portsmouth last week, and I think he's split the fans in somewhat. I don't know what your feelings are about Ellis, but obviously Harrison was on paper Ipswich Town's worst striker last season. Signed for $750,000 by Paul Hurst last summer from Bristol Rovers. Looked a decent player. Played against West Ham, scored against them. Looked very decent. Then got to the season and really didn't kick off. Now he did play a number of games at the start of the season, you must remember, and Town obviously didn't have the best of starts to the 18-19 season, but he played less minutes than Will Keane more minutes than Will Keane last season, and scored less goals. Now, what can you take from that? A lot of people saying he's proven at League One level that he can score goals at League One level. Yes, that is true. But obviously Paul Lambert saw enough towards the end of last season to suggest that he wasn't the kind of player that he was looking at to score goals next year. You can't take away from his hard work and effort, but £500,000 on the table, League One rivals Portsmouth. You've got to weigh up whether he's gonna be a player here next season. And I think, to be fair, I think the right decision was made with Ellis Harrison. So yeah, thanks for what you did, mate. But off you go to Portsmouth, and hopefully you don't score too many goals this season. Sorry. Right, let's just quickly get onto the Ipswich Fan Zone raffle. I don't know if any of you heard of it, but if you look in the description of this video, you can see that there is a raffle going on at the moment. You can win a season ticket or have your season ticket paid off. Just go to the link in the description and you can pay for a raffle ticket. It's £2.50 per ticket. Get as many tickets as you like. We're just trying to raise as much funds as possible so that we can pay that off for one lucky fan. There could be numerous winners with that one, but also any money that's raised that we don't use will go towards charity, and that will be open to everyone to decide. I'll pick a few charities that I think are, plausible and worth the cause. So if we don't use all the money that is raised, then we will put that towards charity. So I will mention that a bit more in the remainder of the video. But if you haven't bought a ticket yet, just look at the link in the description and buy your ticket. So Bartosz Białkowski to Millwall. Bit of a puzzling one, this, because when I was writing my notes for this on Friday, I was already dead certain he was gone. And bit of a puzzling one, really. And he turns up for training today. He's pictured at training, and doesn't look like he's on his way to Millwall. Now, if a player was that close to joining a club, had agreed a medical, agreed a fee, agreed personal terms, he would certainly not be at training at Playford Road this morning. So it's a bit of a question, really. He's still an Ipswich Town player, though, and until he leaves the club, we can't say otherwise, but we can speculate. Millwall came in obviously with a fee that we deemed plausible for the player, even though the club really haven't confirmed it as yet. But if we were to see Bart go, then obviously we'd have to look at clearing up goalkeeper issues. Now, the thing is, I've been thinking about it today. If we were to keep Bart, would it be such a bad thing? I know the fans love Bart, obviously 3 times player of the season. But for me, obviously, the biggest challenge at Ipswich Town at the moment was our defence last season, and you've obviously got to take the goalkeeper into consideration on that. Unfortunately, I think Bart's time at Ipswich Town is up. I think Lambert knows that. That's why the club are trying to move him on. So if a club do come in with the right fee, then we've got to consider it. But if it was to say, then I wouldn't have any problems, to be fair. But I think we need to give maybe other keepers a chance, and definitely Harry Wright is one that's got to come through that academy and be given some game time in some sense. But I assume we'll go out on loan next season, to be fair. But in terms of the squad and the squad size at the moment, I think we're at the kind of size that the manager wants. do we want to expand on that? It's worrying times, really, because I would have thought we'd have signed a few more players by now. And obviously 2 weeks ago, I think, just under 2 weeks ago was the last live show, and I was expecting a few more through the door since then, to be fair. We've gone a bit quiet. There has been rumours linking us to Connor Washington. Another striker, definitely Kyle, is what Ipswich Town need, because one out with Harrison, for me, was another one in, and the same with Bart. If he was going, another goalkeeper has to come in, and obviously Remy Matthews has been linked from Bolton. But yeah, another striker, Connor Washington. I've not heard anything, to be fair, with regards to Washington, other than the fact apparently a deal's done, and that's completely come under the radar. Obviously, there was links earlier on in the summer that Sheffield United were letting him go, and it was a free agent, but I think what we really lack up front is height. We don't have a striker that can really head in the ball anymore. But to be fair, if I had the choice of free agents, Connor Washington and Tom Eaves, I know who I'd select. It's got to be Tom Eaves. He's got to come to Portman Road. That is a proven League One goal scorer, someone who's banging in goals consistently at League One level. But yeah, maybe we need to look a bit higher. Maybe we need to bring in players that have been there and done that even done it in the Championship to some extent. And Washington's done it over numerous leagues. Can he still score a goal though? That's a question. But apart from that, what news have we got to talk about? Obviously, the fixtures came out last week. It's getting exciting now, isn't it? Obviously, let me just get me notes here, because I don't know them off by heart. But yeah, first 6 games, 5 games, 6 games, 6 games. Right, so we've got Burton away, Sunderland at home, massive home game. First home game of the season, Sunderland at home. Peterborough United away, love that. Wimbledon at home, Bolton Wanderers away, and Shrewsbury at home. So let's have a look at those just a tiny bit closer. So Burton Albion, we're actually unbeaten in our entire history against Burton Albion, and unbeaten in the last 2 visits to the Pirelli Stadium. Sunderland won the last 2 against them, and most notably, obviously, the 5-2 win at Portman Road in September 2017, when we absolutely run riot over Sunderland. Obviously, we had McGoldrick, Waghorn, Shalina, Garner, you name it. That was the squad at the time. But Peterborough United, unbeaten 3 against them. AFC Wimbledon, first ever fixture against AFC Wimbledon, known as AFC Wimbledon now, obviously. But then you got Bolton, unbeaten in the last 2 against them, obviously winning recently at the University of Bolton Stadium, as they call it now, not the Reebok. But then Shrewsbury Town, and this is a good one for the Slugs. Unbeaten as far back as 1987 was the last time Ipswich Town failed to beat Shrewsbury Town. Now that is just incredible. The first 6 games of the season, we've got a lot of history against those teams. Doesn't seem like too much on paper, but this is it's a clean slate. Ipswich Town are going into a league that we haven't played in 67 years. These teams are well suited, well versed in League One football, and obviously Burton, good side. Hard away game for the first game of the season. Nonetheless, we will be there in support, and hopefully we can get a good result. Failing that, Sunderland, it's a must win at home. You've got to stamp your authority on the league as early as possible, and Sunderland at home is an absolutely ideal opportunity to get 3 points on the cards. But it won't be easy, not at all. But if we're looking to get promotion from this division, then we need to be taking out the big hitters straight away. So those are the first 6 games. Obviously, in between that, let me just get a bit of water, sorry. Obviously, between that, we've got the Carabao Cup tie, and yeah, we're off to Luton. Luton, obviously, barnstormed League One last season, got promoted from League Two, and were absolutely phenomenal. Up top, especially, they were just scoring goals for fun. Could be quite leaky at the back at times. Could Ipswich Town expose Luton? I don't think so. I think we've obviously crossed paths in the leagues for a reason. Is the Carabao Cup something that we want to concentrate on? I don't think so, because we've got to concentrate on our Checkatrade Trophy run to Wembley. So I don't think Carabao Cup is going to be the competition at Ipswich Town go far in this season, as well as the FA Cup. First round, let's probably look third round at most for Ipswich. But the cup games are going to put in a lot of opportunities for youngsters, I imagine, and a few more gate receipts at most. So we'd probably be looking at home games, trying to bring in those cup games at home. But who knows? Other news: Towns Community Trust will be up and running again during the 1920 season. So they're going to bring in a coaching back at Suffolk primary schools, something that we haven't done over the last few years. And Norwich have obviously been dealing in our, in and around our patch. So it's nice to get our club back in schools, let them know that, we're the biggest team in East Anglia, regardless of whether Norwich are in the Premier League. We still have that, we still have that fight in us. We've still got a club. We've still got a Category 1, on the cards. It's on the doorstep. In the next few years, we're definitely going to be pushing for Category 1. And that is definitely something that the club need to do. They need to get back in primary schools and find those talents and coerce them maybe to come to Playford Road and be part of our youth setup, rather than the likes of Norwich, who are just running absolutely unbelievable numbers through their academy at the moment. And is it likely that those players are going to come through? Highly unlikely, in my opinion, if you've got so many people at the club. But that brings me nicely on to players that have come out of this squad, out of this team over the past few years, and something that's come on, leaps and bounds from what I remember in transfer policy. But if we look at a number of players that we've let go over the last few years, and look at the business behind closed doors. Now, you can thank one person for this, and I know many people won't agree with this, but Mick McCarthy is definitely the guy that we need to thank for all these dealings behind closed doors. He's the man to thank. I mean, if you take these players, Webster, Mings, Clark, Kiefer Moore, all four of them, if they move on this summer, are going to benefit Ipswich Town hugely with their sell-on fees, their profit sell-on clauses, their sell-on fees. I mean, Matt Clark's deal to Brighton is potentially looking to bring in around £900,000. 900,000 out of nothing. I mean, we're talking about a deficit of £7 million for the drop from the Championship to League One, but 900,000 for a player that doesn't even play for the squad anymore, hasn't played 3 games for us, is moved on and made us money. Now, obviously, we can sit there and be like, yeah, it could have been our player. Why didn't he get more game time? We've seen it. Yeah, like Ben said, Rhodes was another example, a player that we let go too early, I think, but we cashed in on Rhodes for nearly £1 million when he was a teenager. Obviously went on to be one of the biggest strikers the EFL has ever seen, scoring numerous goals. But you can't take chances on that, unfortunately. When you play at a certain level, taking chances on teenagers can come few and far between. But if you look at the other ones, you've got Kiefer Moore. I mean, when he left Ipswich Town, did anyone actually think that Kiefer Moore was going to be a consistent goal scorer at any level? Because I was struggling to see what the idea of his signing was originally. And we slapped on a 10% sell-on clause on him as well. And if he moves on this summer, which looks like he is going to, for big money, then we're gonna make 10% on that as well. Tyrone Mings is another one. Bought him for 30,000, sold him for 12 million, and the profit's ridiculous. I mean, we're looking at another 5-10% on Mings as well. That's another 700k based on him moving on at any level. We're probably looking between 12 or 15 million at his level at the moment. And Adam Webster is the last one, who's been touted by many Premier League squads, but primarily Leicester, to cover the loss of Harry Maguire. Now, in my opinion, I don't really rate Webster that well to actually fit in and cover Harry Maguire's place at Leicester if he was to move on to Manchester United or Man City. But his sale could bring in another £850,000, and that would bring, if all those players move on, that bring over £3 million into the club this close season for players that haven't played in the squad in the last year. That is fantastic business on any level, and that's definitely something we need to take our hats off to the club for. Now, I'll just quickly mention the Ipswich Fan Zone raffle again. If you joined us, mentioned it earlier. But the details in the description. £2.50 a ticket. Win the chance to get your season ticket paid off or win a season ticket. Yes, you heard that correctly. Go into the description and click on the link. You can go to the market stall on Blue Action and you can buy that ticket. The draws, it will close on the 24th of July, just prior to the open day, and the winner will be pulled out on the open day. Fingers crossed I can get someone to do that for me. With regards to everything else, Roy Keane has moved on from Nottingham Forest today, former Ipswich Town manager, and he's been touted for a few jobs. The most notable, I think, is laughable, really, linked with the Newcastle job. I just can't see that happening. Obviously, Rafa Benitez has announced that he's not going to be at Newcastle beyond the 30th of June. Can you actually see him going to bloody Newcastle? Roy Keane has got no managerial talent in his body. We know that. He obviously he spent millions of pounds at Ipswich Town and got us absolutely nowhere. To be fair, he put us back about 3 or 4 years. But he's not cut for managerial jobs anywhere. Even coaching roles, he's struggled. Look at Ireland, look at Forest. Nobody likes him. The bloke's got no people skills, no social skills at all. I'd even say, has he got anything in today's game that he can actually bring to the table? I don't think you'll hear any player have a good word about him. Is he the kind of guy you want in a managerial role at your club? I don't think so, not at all. But moving on to other things, obviously pre-season is now underway. The players have come back today. It's good to see a lot of the players back in, and obviously the loan players have come back in. And it looks as though Danny Rowe, Jordan Roberts, Donacien, Wolfenden are going to play a keen part in the squad this season. Probably save us pennies in the transfer window. I think at a League One level they'll probably be more adequate to play football. Obviously Championship may have been a stretch at times, but they were decent players when they did play. So League One, given an opportunity, I say. But in terms of pre-season, you can now get your tickets for the Colchester match. That's on the 19th of July, and the Cambridge match on the 27th of July. Tickets are out. You can buy those on itfcdirect.com, I think. So head over there and get your tickets. I'll be going to both those games. Hopefully it'll be a big crowd. Always take a big one to Colchester because they can never fill their stadium. But Cambridge, much better squad than Colchester United. But in terms of what we can do in pre-season, it's best to just get out there and get some fitness, on the pitch. A lot of players have to prove themselves. Emyr Hughes, how good was that to see him come out in training today? And like many have said, that would be like a new signing if we could get Emyr Hughes fit. Now, it does really worry me. We have had midfielders linked. Goreen was supposed to be at Portman Road before he signed for Oxford United. Don't know what the problem was with that one, but we have enough options in midfield to push on next season. I think we really need to strengthen left back. Goalkeeper if Bart goes. I think we're alright at right back. I think we just need another striker. I say left back and a striker, and I think we're pretty much at where Lambert wants the squad to be. I think we've got enough quality in our youngsters and enough quality in those in the squad to perform next season without any worries. So in terms of that, I think we're pretty much ready for pre-season, to be fair. Minus 1 or 2, and maybe 1 or 2 will go, but we don't know that. Has anyone got any questions before we finish this one off tonight? Getting that one in. Would I sell Sears? Absolutely not. Ben, I don't know where you come from with that one, mate. But Freddie Sears is being consistent for Ipswich Town in periods. I'd probably say his worst period as an Ipswich Town player was under McCarthy, because the guy absolutely wrecked him as a player. Brought him in as a striker, converted him to a winger, and now he can't play up front. So I do think he's got some worth, definitely on the wing, but League One will give him a different kind of opportunity in the squad. And I think Freddie will take that, with open arms. And I do say we've got a lot of strikers that are exactly the same. We've got a lot of pace up front, and I do think that we will struggle in the air. And I have obviously James Norwood. I haven't seen him play in a blue shirt, but I have seen him play numerous times before. He's very, very versatile and industrious. But do I think we need another player who could play in the air? Yes, definitely. Someone who can head down the ball and get it down the box. Someone who's very forthright with their movement and puts himself about. Definitely, 100%. And we need to play with 2 strikers, in my opinion, next season. Now, there was another question just there about Grant Ward, obviously coming back. Now, in my opinion, I don't think there's been much on Grant Ward, to be fair. I think he's a decent player. Hasn't really took off in his career. Obviously, signed for Ipswich Town and scored a hat-trick on his debut. But did he kick on from there? I'm not certain, but he has been consistent. Can I say that I was excited to see Grant Ward in the squad? On match days, I wasn't. So for me, Grant would have to come back from injury and then come back as a more exciting player, someone who can deliver something. League One level is probably a good level for him. Will Keane and Quaynor, neither of them will sign for Ipswich Town. That's all I'm going to say for that one. I don't think either of them will come in. If they do, I'll be shocked. Purely because Quaynor's, just can't afford him. His wages are 50 grand a week, as far as I'm concerned. But Keane's similar. Money wise, can we afford him? Nick, we covered Bart, but he's an Ipswich Town player until we know otherwise. So, anyway, let's wrap it up. Judge or Bishop in midfield? Both, obviously. Come on, we're going all out attack. Right, let's wrap it up there. Anyway, thanks for watching tonight. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, like the video. Make sure you get your raffle tickets as well. In the description below, £2.50. You could win a season ticket or have yours paid off, 100%. Any money's not used will go to charity, and you'll have a choice to select what charity that goes to. But in the meantime, everyone, thanks for watching, and come on you Blues.